Osan was a lazy, handsome loser who lived alone with his daughter after his wife ditched him for being a freaking toilet seat designer. One day, he got isekai'd by Toilet Kun and became a superhero charged with protecting the Earth. Although he wasn't the best looking, he had a job to do. Osan was on a date with a girl, talking about how he became a superhero. He told her his very powerful but cultured superpower, telling a lady's hip size from a glance, something Jiraiya would be proud of. This was working apparently, as his date was intrigued by this super-cultured superpower and wanted him to use it on her as much as he liked, and to get her drunk and take her to a penthouse suite with him to get down to plot-related business. She went on with leaking her weird fantasies, and while he attempted to use his Master Jiraiya superpowers, she beat him to it, revealing herself as the desperate, lovesick stand for superheroes that she was. While they were talking, and as she was about to give him the key to her city, the real hero came flying in, saving the day from the supposed hero. She refuted the claims that this loser was anything like a superhero, and that the only reason he could tell her hip size was that he was a toilet designer who made a living off other people's hind cheeks. The next day, Osan was making another attempt to score some fine-looking chicks, but this time, he was being seemingly honest, rizzing them up with a toilet seat, which seemed to be working apparently. The real hero, who happens to be his daughter, pops out again, demanding he stops rizzing the ladies up with their toilet seats. She literally kicked him out of the restaurant, calling him a failed father, and that he stinks more than the purpose of what he creates. She added that her mom left him because of his dishonest ways and his tremendous engagements in alcohol and toilet seats, but he didn't deny this. He sat down, accepting the criticism, and even added that she was the only one he really wanted to love. Somehow, despite him being a complete loser, he maxed out on Riz and used it so effortlessly to the point where the girls rushed back to him because of his beautiful speech but were knocked out by his daughter. Back at home, he asked her how she always found him when he was out on dates, and she replied by asking him why he always went Master Roshi mode on ladies in the same restaurant. He attempted to take off his pants, but his daughter yelled at him for trying to get into default clothing settings in front of her. She asked him to go undress outside and went to have her bath. While he was about to leave, he caught sight of someone walking across the hallway who told him that his dressing was unappealing. This person was their neighbor, Yamada, who happened to be going on a late-night stroll and was a totally uncultured individual, like Osan. He closed the door and ran to the toilet to reap the fruit of his labor. Suddenly, he happened to reap more than he sowed and fell into the toilet, transporting him entirely to what seemed to be another dimension. Once again, Truck-kun wasn't needed to get the job done. Suddenly, some unknown figure started talking to him from the top of a podium, giving him very vital information that he was the first person on Earth who was taking a dump at that moment, and as such, he automatically qualified to join their team and protect Earth. Osan told them that he had better priorities, which was taking a dump, but the weird buff dude that looked like Bob the Builder and Puri Puri Prisoner had a baby insisted, informing him that they were a registered private limited company called the Space Peace Republic Alliance Hero Committee, a rather ambiguous name for a group of buff plumbers. After that, he came out of the toilet in his supposed hero mode, but looked like motivation for Majin Buu to lose some weight. He tried explaining to his daughter, but nothing came out the way he wanted. He only spoke the language of the uncultured gods, hence, he got kicked out of his own house. Meanwhile, the jolly aliens arrived on Earth in a flying saucer, like some nursery school rhyme, but this time, they were planning evil. The next day, he took out a few aliens, including some interesting-looking ones. But he couldn't seem to stop speaking the language of the cultured omnipotent beings, and couldn't keep the ladies around anymore as he had lost his charm. He realized that he had to find a place to stay, so he went to the best option that any sane person would go for, his uncultured neighbor, Yamada. Osan sat at a table, thinking about his sad life and how it all went south. He was thinking of how to explain himself to Yamada without sounding too uncultured. While he was rehearsing his embarrassing lines, Yamada interrupted, asking him what he'd prefer for breakfast, while wearing something that was somewhat provocatingly uncultured. He picked a pair of eggs from the options, thinking that Yamada was going to cook 2 normal eggs, but surprisingly, he brought 2 giant eggs instead, looking like he robbed Jurassic Park.
What?
Osun wondered what exactly those eggs were and where Yamada got them from, but without much of a choice, he attempted to dig in. Suddenly, a bird popped out his head from the inside of the egg, only to get strangled by Yamada WWE style. Osman stepped out for a moment, using the dumb excuse of his posterior having a headache. A very genius-level excuse that Jimmy Neutron could never crack up. Minchan came out of their apartment wondering what was causing all the ruckus in Yamada's house, and she attempted to call her father to find out what was up. Meanwhile, her dad was in the toilet, wondering what he would do about his situation. He eventually got a call from Minchan, but as much as he wanted to say meaningful things to her and comfort her as her father, he only kept on saying wholly uncultured things. Just then, a weird, shady character weirdo appeared at the scene, walking past Minchan. She was concerned about the amount of weirdos she had been seeing around there for a while. This dude was an alien named the Beast King Uraborox, or Urabolox, as the alien leader called him, quite the name there. He was apparently immortal, and the aliens were monitoring his every move, hoping that he would take out his target. Osun was in the toilet trying to Google a way to get back to normal. Yamada showed up in front of the door, and they both shared their knowledge on hind cheeks with each other. Osun rushed out immediately and rushed home while the alien dude was about to be his welcoming party. Meanwhile, Uraborox showed up at the wrong address, meeting a little girl instead. Trying to explain the awkward situation to the young girl led to him accidentally killing himself. Osun, however, arrived home, and his daughter Minchan started to realize how lonely it could be with him gone. Meanwhile, the alien leader was unhappy with Uraborox's death, so he immediately sent another alien warrior to take Osun out. This time, it was the Chicken Overlord, probably one of the chickens from Chicken Invaders that went to Hollywood. Osun arrived at his home to find that Minchan was already out. He proceeded to do what he does the most, take a dump. He first of all tried striking a deal with the toilet through professional level negotiation, but all to no avail. He then accepted his fate and proceeded to use the toilet for its primary purpose. In another scene, Minchan met a handsome boy from her school, and he started a conversation with her. They talked for some time while Chicken Overlord finally arrived at his target's destination, but apparently, he was at the wrong place too. He arrived at Yamada's apartment instead and found the 2 giant eggs that Osun was meant to devour. This scared him as he realized his kind was being served as food for humans. Just then, Yamada popped up and tried to use him for food, but Chicken Overlord managed to escape. He went outside and right there met Osun, who mistook him for his breakfast. Chicken Overlord tried fighting Osun, but Osun was distracted by something else. He noticed his daughter Minchan talking to a boy. He struggled with this revelation as memories of her growing up and maturing into a girl who could interact with boys flooded his mind. He got mad at the boy and promised to rescue his daughter from him, even if she didn't need rescuing. Chicken Overlord tried fortifying his attack, but Osun used it against him, defeating him. Back at the alien ship, the aliens begged their leader, telling him it was best to leave Earth, but he declared that he had found Osun's weakness. Back at the alien ship, the alien leader's discovery was revealed. They were researching on the chests of human men and women, and they discovered the woman's secret weapon, melons, big juicy melons. It was revealed that the female melons caused men to have nosebleeds, thus instantly defeating them. They tried it on themselves, and they all bleed uncontrollably through the nose. They saw the fact that they were all male, and therefore unable to defeat women with melons as a huge problem. Even their leader's sausage was rising. They devised a plan to steal Minchan's heart and use it against Osun. They felt that Osun had feelings for Minchan, and her falling for someone else would break his heart, making him lose his will to fight and rendering him useless. As a result, he would lose the fight to any alien. They declared that they had created the ultimate dreamy man, an irresistible Eichmann who would sweep Minchan off her feet and land them the victory against Osun. Later on, Minchan was at the police station to report her dad's disappearance. The cops reminded her that her dad always disappeared during annual events and would come back soon.
We don't care. Let me tell you, we don't care.
But she was worried because it had been a week since he last showed up, which was unusual. Osun was watching from somewhere. He was touched by the fact that his daughter was actually looking for him and even reporting to the police station. Suddenly, Yamada popped up, asking if they were going commando and looking at women in an uncultured manner. Just then, Osun spotted a young boy holding a book heading Minchan's way. He suspected the boy was carrying a love letter in the book that he wanted to hand over to Min-chan. Immediately, he deployed Yamada like a Pokemon to scare off the child by showing him his birthday suit. This worked as the kid scurried off, but the policeman wasn't happy with it. As Min-chan walked home, she encountered a dude wearing a red suit and holding flowers who was supposed to be the ultimate Eichmann. He apparently wasn't appealing to her, and she mistook him for her dad, but when he revealed his face to be some emoji-looking head and tried flirting with her, she gave him a spinning kick, sending him flying and calling him an abomination classroom. Girls got jokes. The alien leader was disappointed that the little alien's plan didn't work and demanded he finish the job. So the abomination classroom cameo character summoned his car like the Batmobile and got in so he could embark on drive-by rizzing. But Austin stopped the car, saving the emoji man from another beatdown and saving everyone's ears from the terrible rap music coming from the car. He explained to Emoji Eichmann that he shouldn't try to use money to rizz her up, as she was only 16 and didn't know much about society or how her dad turned into a human Majin Buu. He even offered himself in place of his daughter as someone the emoji dude could get down to business with instead, and went ahead to give him his account number and shamelessly blurt out more of his weird fantasies. The emoji buddy recognized Austin as the Earth's hero and declared that he would take him down then and there. His car went through a transformation that would make anyone think it was Optimus Prime, but it was actually a failed, stupid-looking car robot that even Dr. Doofenshmirtz wouldn't design. The car robot attempted to attack Osen, but its limbs were shorter than that of an abnormal titan. Osen tried to help and started fixing things in the engine, but this had a somewhat unexpected cultured outcome, with the robot monster falling defeated and Emoji Dude apparently falling for Osan, in which he found it unethical and gave him the Asian mom punishment. Later that night, Min-chan got back home and broke into tears as she missed her dad so much. Osen stood helpless outside as he couldn't reveal himself to his daughter yet until he got back to normal. Just as they were having this sorrowful moment, Yamada popped up like an annoying ad, mistaking Osan for an uncultured spy peeking at Min-chan, but Osan wasn't having it. The next morning, Min-chan woke up to find out that her dad had made her breakfast and left early. As much as he didn't make bread as she wanted and she also didn't get to see him, she was very happy to see that he was still around. Just then, as Osen was leaving through the door, he got stabbed by the alien leader, who seemed to have decided to stand on business. The alien leader had put his hand through Osen's back, literally stabbing him in the back like Hashirama did to Madara. He pulled out his hand, declaring that nobody could stop him from dominating the earth at that point. But he was surprised to see that Osen was instantly healed, and the only impact he made was the hole he tore into his tank top.
Hacker! Hacker!
Osen nonchalantly told him that he had come at the wrong time, as he was digging for gold in his nose at the moment. The alien prince asked how it was possible that he was still standing after getting literally backstabbed, but Osen just had to make it sound uncultured like he always does. The alien prince attempted many moves and hit Osen thousands of times, but he just looked like Speed-a-Sound Sonic trying to beat Saitama, while Osen was trying to pick out a particular booger deep inside his nose. Osen finally removed the booger and threw it right in front of the alien prince, who picked it up and mistook it for Osen's weakness, saying that he could decipher its molecular structure and physical traits if he ate it. Osen begged him not to, but he went ahead anyway and ran away with it, thinking that Osen valued it and wanted it back. The alien prince briefly returned, surprising Osen, who didn't know he could fly. He declared that he had begun his conquest of Earth and proceeded to absorb the snot of everyone on Earth, creating a huge ball of snot like Goku would do if he had COVID-19. Apparently, the huge snot ball was too heavy for him to carry, and it immediately fell on him, forcing him to hit the ground faster than Yamcha 3 minutes into every fight. He eventually got up again and attempted to throw the snot spirit bomb at Osen. Osen tried to attack but accidentally hit Min-chan, who gave him an absolute beatdown. The alien prince started liking Min-chan as her beatdown was very similar to the way his mom used to beat him when he was a little alien critter. He immediately fell in love with her on the spot and got rid of the snot globe, proceeding to profess his love for her but getting blue-balled hard. He decided to resort to different methods, like getting her a gift. He went back to the alien ship, and his minions gave him the idea to get her an apartment as a gift. Apparently he was too broke to afford one. His subjects tried getting a 500-year loan, but of course, the humans turned them down, as they didn't think anyone would live that long. The alien prince had one more resort. He sold the spaceship to a bunch of femboys, or bearded femmen rather, and his subjects were not happy with this as they had been converted to hobos. Later that night, Yamada helped put ice on Osun's facial injuries as he lamented about injuries inflicted by Minchan not healing. Yamada, ever the weird, uncultured one, offered to heal him with his kisses, but Osun threatened to punch the weirdness out of him if he got any closer. Just then, they heard the doorbell and Yamada was excited to see who it was. The alien prince walked in and gave him a wad of cash for rent, and Yamada asked him to come in and introduce himself to Osun. This episode started with a flashback to one of the toilet award nights. Osun won the award, granting him 100 million gold in addition. He went up to the podium to give his speech and thank everyone, including his wife and daughter Minchan. In another scene, he was working late at night sketching toilets and skibidi toilets when his wife called, asking him to come back home. He declined, saying that he needed to submit a new toilet seat plan to a new client immediately. More flashbacks are shown of various times when he was at meetings and business dinners while being scolded for using his phone and trying to respond to his wife. He won a couple more awards, did a few unveilings, and also got together with women who appreciated his work. He started being ignorant and ignoring his wife's calls, asking her not to bug him while he was out with other women. One night, he got a call from his wife where she asked for a divorce. He immediately woke up from his nightmare to find himself being choked by the alien prince. The alien prince revealed that he had been choking him all night and demanded he die immediately, but Osun punched him away. He immediately went to Yamada, asking him to let go of their new foreign roommate immediately as he couldn't live with him, and didn't even have a leaseholder's foreign resident permit. The prince appeared and asked Osun to work for him until he became emperor since he was very strong and the prince could use muscles like his. Osun was surprised at how good he was at Japanese, even better than himself, who grew up in Japan. The alien prince revealed that he learned Japanese so he could steal the heart of the girl next door, who happened to be Minchan, and that he learned it by watching a few episodes of anime. Osun was angered by his answer, and told him that he wouldn't let him lay a hand on her. The alien prince got it all wrong for a bit, thinking Osun was in love with her as well, calling him his competitor and telling him that he was up against someone he had no chance against. They almost entered a fight until Yamada came to break them up, filling their mouths with eggs until they heard the doorbell ring. Yamada opened the door to find Minchan covered in nothing but a towel. Apparently, the tap for their bathtub broke again and all her clothes were in the washing machine, leaving her with nothing to wear and the plumber still far away. She asked for Yamada's help, but Osun and the alien prince ran out instead, causing Minchan to punch them both in the face, forcing them to the ground. She recognized Osun, but as the fat intruder she met the other day, and not as her father, she immediately asked Yamada to call the cops, but Osun tried explaining, which just led to him saying more uncultured stuff, and the alien prince tried using some sad riz. Yamada explained to her that the two of them were his distant relatives that came over for a while. She asked Osun why he intruded into her house the other day, and he explained that he was drunk and it wasn't on purpose. The alien prince tried rizzing her up again by telling her not to let Osun in but him. Despite them being weird, she let them both in if they could be of any help. The alien prince tried drinking up all the water, which didn't turn out great. While Minchan went outside to get help, Osun and the prince talked, which was where Osun revealed to the prince that he was Minchan's father and that it was his house. He felt sorry about the broken faucet because he would have fixed it a long time ago and saved his marriage if he had done it when his wife asked him to. Minchan came back to find the tap fixed, but the two men were gone. Back on the alien prince's home planet, his father sent one of his siblings to teach him a lesson. Some Zuko and Azula moments. A young lady suddenly appeared at Yamada's door. The alien prince opened the door thinking it was Minchan, but instead, it was a young-looking alien female with a long tail.
Wait a minute! Who are you?
The alien prince was confused about who she was, but she revealed herself to be his fiancée. Osun immediately got mad that the alien prince was hitting on Minchan despite having a fiancée, but he tried explaining that he had no idea who she was and that he actually gave up everything to stay on Earth since he fell in love with Minchan. The alien girl insisted that she was his fiancée and asked who Minchan was. Just then, Minchan opened her door due to all the noise outside and thanked her dad and the alien prince for helping her with the broken tap. The alien girl realized that Minchan was the one the alien prince left her for and decided to attack her. The alien prince rushed in front of Minchan before the alien girl's tail could reach her. He started confessing his love for her in such touching ways that Minchan even thought he had rehearsed his lines before saying them. But she pointed out to him that he wasn't harmed. Instead, Osun was the one who stopped the attack with his hand. They were all surprised when the tail talked, and that's when they learned that the tail was her actual body, and the human-looking female body was just a vessel she could control. She started to tell her story about how she met the alien prince, which was back when he was a kid in school training to be the perfect king. There it was revealed that his name was Momo. He accidentally walked into the girl's bathroom and apologized quickly before attempting to scurry off. He stopped when he heard a girl calling for help in one of the toilet stalls. He opened it to find a young girl with her face buried in the toilet, throwing up, but weirdly enough, her tail was the actual thing talking to him. She explained to him the type of being she was, belonging to one of the richest and most intelligent beings in the entire universe, and that she was just releasing waste into the toilet but unfortunately found out that there was no toilet paper. He helped her out, which immediately made her declare herself his fiancée and fall in love with him. But the alien prince didn't like her that way. He was urged by his father to marry her, but he disagreed. He left, telling his father that he was on his way to conquer his own planet and find himself a woman through his own efforts. Back in the present, Minchan wasn't interested in their discussion, as she likened everything they were talking about to the conversation of kids, making her walk back inside. Yamada immediately came out dressed as a doctor and tried helping the alien girl, which provided different results instead. They carried her inside but accidentally cut her tail off her vessel's body, which made it discharge lots of energy from both sides. Just then, the alien prince's brother showed up, snatched the alien girl's body, and flew away. Osun came to understand that the alien prince really did love his daughter and would sacrifice anything for her. And the alien prince started to see Osun as a good father.
What is he doing?
He's beginning to believe.
Apparently, a man who looked just like Osun's former self came knocking at Minchan's door, leaving them all confused. The Osun clone knocked at Minchan's door, putting the real Osun into deep confusion, questioning if he was the real him or not. He started remembering all the memories of him and Minchan, which confirmed that he was the real Osun, but he still couldn't understand why there was another him standing right in front of his door. Right before Minchan could open the door, he ran back into Yamada's apartment, closing it up and looking at old pictures of him and his daughter on his phone, until it died. He tried explaining his situation to Momo. Although it took Momo a while to understand what he was saying, he gave him the perfect solution to his predicament. He pointed at the dataling alien tail lying on the ground and told him that she was the perfect person to help, as she could access all information in the universe and tell him what was wrong with him. But Osun said that she was dead as she didn't have a mobile battery anymore because Momo's annoying younger brother stole her old one. Momo suggested Osun plug it into himself, but he immediately declined that idea as it was a very bad and wrong one that he wouldn't want to do. They had just one choice left, plugging it into Yamada. The two of them approached him slowly as they planned to plug it into him while he was still asleep. He eventually woke up before they could reach him. They told him their plan, and despite them expecting him to freak out, he instead wanted them to do it and begged for it, which freaked them out instead. Osun went ahead to fulfill Yamada's weird wishes and plugged the dataling into him, bringing her back to life. She initially thought that it was Momo who brought her back to life and tried flirting with him again. He told her that it wasn't him, but started to get a nosebleed for some reason. Osun came to realize that it was because Yamada now had lemons. She had converted his dangling fruits into juicy melons since being plugged into a man's body. Osun told her not to mess with someone's body without their permission, but she explained to him that it was his doing. She went on to lecture him on how plugging them into bodies alters their appearance according to gender and tried bullying him into admitting it was his fault. He immediately pulled out a pair of scissors and threatened to use them on her if she didn't submit. She immediately apologized, agreeing to do whatever he said, and asked him what he wanted. He told her that he wanted information on his body. She agreed and asked him to input his DNA into Yamada's mouth. He was about to get to lip-sucking, until Momo rescued him from that uncultured situation by pulling a strand of hair from his head, informing him that lip-sucking wasn't at all necessary unless he was into uncultured stuff like that. She explained to him that he wasn't from that Earth. Instead, he was from the Earth of another universe, and his ending up there was an error, which meant that the Osun they saw earlier was really Osun, the one from that universe. As he wondered what to do about it, Momo kept bugging him to hand Min-chan over to him, but just then, Osun had an idea and dragged Momo into the toilet with him where a lot of unholy, uncultured things went down.
Oh my.
While they were in the toilet doing things that couldn't be seen by the camera, Yamada and the dataling started bonding, ending up with the both of them falling in love. It was later revealed that Osun wasn't the real Osun. Instead, he was Momo's older brother who also came to Earth to destroy his brother's plans. The Emperor was dissatisfied with how his first son Mo's mission was going, but his subjects tried to reassure him, telling him that Mo was the most competent out of the three of them, and that he watched TV shows to study human behavior. Mo was sitting in Min-chan's living room. From his studies about humans, he was amused by their behavior. Cruel mothers-in-law and money-minded moms, wild wives and useless dads. Min-chan came out asking him if he had gone to work and calling him a stupid old man like she always does. She asked him to cut the watermelon if he had nothing to do, and he absolutely outdid himself, creating a detox soup out of the watermelon that, according to him, had the whole of America trembling. He called it sacred melon juice. He couldn't think of a better name than something so cultured. She wasn't impressed with the name and pointed out that the table was wet due to his overzealous watermelon cutting. He immediately shut her up by putting a piece in her mouth, which absolutely put her in a comforting dream. She was in a whole different world, meeting melon people and doing melon things. She went into different anime melon universes and did different things, ending up in a melon band and making the crowd go wild. She eventually snapped back to reality and Mo asked her how she felt. Before she could answer, the Emperor immediately asked his subjects to turn off the galactic TV thingy because he didn't want to watch that anymore. His subjects asked each other why he was so irritated and his story was told. Apparently, he was a sad, sad little kid that managed to pull a good number of chicks, but had them taken away either by getting killed or even getting arrested. His parents saw him as pathetic and risless and decided to arrange a wedding for him with the princess of the most powerful race in the universe, which happened to be an exaggerated version of Patrick's sister. A couple years after they got married, he laid in bed with his wife, or rather, he laid in what remained of the bed his humongous wife covered. She lamented about not having kids despite them being married for ages and asked him if there was something wrong with him. So he went on to see a doctor who told him that there wasn't anything wrong with him, although they were going to find it hard to have kids. So he referred him to their baby vending machine. They had 3 boys, Mo, Momo, and Momomo. Makes one question how a certain lemur from Avatar multiplied despite being the last one left. Some years later, his wife died from very natural causes that didn't involve their 3 sons. She went ahead to confess heartbreaking things to the Emperor before dying, thus causing the Emperor to go into his no-love villain arc, going around and destroying all feelings of love. His next destination was Earth, as he felt it was time to stand on business since his 3 sons had failed miserably. Meanwhile, after being intrigued by the apartment's new look courtesy of Mo, she went outside to find Osun, Momo, and Yamada in a very awkward position and taught them a lesson. Mo invited the rest of them into Min-chan's apartment to have dinner with them. He complimented Earth's food and how good it was. He was asked what he ate at home and he said space scorpions and space clams. Min-chan asked him to stop talking about his space fantasies as she was tired of hearing them, not knowing that they were true and that he was actually an alien and not her dad. Osun found it awkward how he was eating as a guest in his own home and remembered the last time he had dinner there with Min-chan, where he was lecturing her on the right way to use chopsticks and that she should eat more vegetables and less meat. Min-chan didn't agree with everything that he said and called him annoying until her mom told her that he was absolutely correct and that she should listen to him. Back to the present, while they were all eating like Naruto's shadow clones, Yamada and Min-chan got a bit too overzealous about meat and entered a dramatic showdown for it. This amused Mo even more as he made more observations on how easy it was to manipulate humans. Momo tried to approach Mo in his awesome form, but he pushed him away. He mocked him in his mind for following humans and emulating their behavior. Osun started feeling like he didn't belong in this world as Min-chan had the perfect father here and he simply wouldn't be good enough. Momo tried using his spell on Mo that would make any human rush to the toilet, but it didn't work on him, which confused Momo. Osun dragged Momo to the toilet with him to help him release his waste, but Momo didn't have any confidence in his abilities anymore as the spell failed to work on Mo. Through their discussions, they came to find out that it was probably because the Osun imposter wasn't from Earth. They weren't sure about this claim, so they had to test the spell on Osun to find out. The spell worked, and it was so loud that Min-chan lost her appetite and left the scene, leaving only Yamada and Mo behind. Mo saw it as the perfect opportunity. He tried emulating Jesus' powers, but in the wrong way, by turning the booze into suicide tonic. This drink would make the drinker give up their will to live and ultimately unalive themselves. But as the genius he was, he tried it first.
You serious?
Min-chan went to her room feeling sad about how weird everything had been. She looked at the box under her bed that was filled with memories she cherished so much. Then she saw an old drawing and wondered what it meant. She came out to find all four of them depressed from drinking out of the suicide tonic, and it started clicking to her. Just then, the Emperor crashed the party like a breadwinner's crash landing. Min-chan was having a flashback of when her mom left her and her dad after their divorce. Her dad tried telling her that everything was fine, but she could tell that he was lying. She started hitting him, asking for her mom back. In another scene, she got into a fight with a few delinquents who went ahead to beat her up. While she was walking home, her dad approached her to ask her what the problem was, but she asked him not to bother her as she wanted to keep to her tsundere plot. Back to the present, she was face to face with the Emperor, and he started talking to her. He threatened to destroy the Earth, but suddenly Min-chan attacked him. This attack had no effect on him, and he slammed her on the table, WWE style. Then he asked her to watch as he killed everyone on Earth in front of her, and then she would be the next after that. Just then, Mo and his brother woke up from their slumber, and Mo immediately rushed over to Min-chan to wake her up. Here she started having another flashback where her dad was at a business dinner but was getting countless calls from his wife. He tried playing it off by saying it was the Nigerian princes calling again, but his co-workers asked him to pick it up as it may be important. He answered only to find out that his daughter was horribly sick and had to see the doctor immediately. He held her in his arms and tried calling a taxi to take her to the hospital, but none were stopping. Min-chan immediately snapped out of her flashback and asked Momo to stop his constant harsh patting on her back to wake her up. Momo looked around and realized that it was his father who put her down. He and his brother tried calming him down and apologizing for not doing their missions properly. Mo tried explaining to him that his plan was almost at fruition, and there wasn't much left, but his dad didn't listen to him, hitting him away. The Emperor told Momo to follow him as his younger brother was dead and his older brother was a cross-dresser, thus not fit to ascend the throne. But Momo refused, telling his dad that he'd rather stay on Earth with Min-chan and that he would protect her from him. His dad was proud of his decision but told him that he had to take responsibility at the moment and fight him. He immediately started beating him up and used the Omni-Man ideology, telling him that he would feel very sad when Min-chan passed away, as Earthlings have very short lifespans. Just then, the hero rose from his ruins. He was mad that the Emperor destroyed his house and especially his toilet. He went ahead to attack the Emperor, but nothing worked, causing him to wonder what exactly his superpower was. Osun was standing looking all confused and wondering what exactly his superpower was. The Emperor decided it was his turn to strike and gave Osun a punch that sent him flying through the rubble till he hit a wall and coughed out blood. Min-chan ran after him immediately after and Yamada followed her. Osun felt water pouring on his forehead and thought it was holy water, but it turned out to be water coming out of the sink Mo was sitting on. Osun immediately spotted a toilet, feeling he could finally make it back, but before he could even bust a move, the Emperor smashed it. The Emperor told him that underestimating one's foe is the greatest insult you could give to a warrior. Therefore, he had greatly insulted the Emperor and would pay.
It's pay about time.
He lifted him up and asked him to show his power, but he only made a pathetic excuse for fighting worse than the first time Naruto tried fighting Kakashi. The Emperor mistook this for his still underestimating him despite all he had shown him. He got hit by the water coming out of the toilet Mo was in and destroyed it. Apparently Mo's leg got cut from the blast. He was holding it crying till his dad told him that he was tired of his cries and pointed his hand at him to destroy him. Mo begged for mercy, but his dad had a point to prove. He used Lord Beerus's Haikai on him and killed him. The Emperor used this as proof to Osun that he was strong and asked him once again to stop underestimating him and fight for real. But Osun didn't know how this could be achieved as he didn't even know if he actually even had superpowers. He questioned himself if he was even really a superhero. as he didn't really have to do anything to beat all the opponents he eliminated in the past. He finally gave up and told the emperor that he wasn't a hero in a subtle voice, but Min-chan interrupted, telling him that he was the hero of that world, the only person who could save the planet. Her dad yelled for her to leave at once, but the emperor was faster. He attempted to shoot a blast at her, but with the help of Yamada, he missed by inches. Yamada dragged the emperor by the hand, sending him through walls and smashing them. He attempted to fight back, but Momo showed up and attacked his dad with a huge barrage of toilet food, which disgusted Min-chan, Osan, and the emperor as well. The emperor eventually fought through his son's attacks and kicked him away. Then he caught Yamada and shocked him to oblivion, while Osan couldn't do anything. The emperor went ahead to kill the dataling, reverting Yamada to his old form. Yamada tried to attack but got killed as well. Osan was devastated, with Min-chan breaking down in tears. Osan yielded and asked the emperor to take his life as he blamed himself for the disaster that was happening to the earth. They made an agreement that the emperor would kill him and leave the planet, but Min-chan couldn't let him. She reminded him about the storybook he drew for her and how it related to this situation, making him the actual hero. Just then, the emperor got fed up with her and sent her to the game lobby too.
Come on now, dawg. Come on, man.
Osan was in tears as he picked up the book and went through it. He immediately got flashbacks of when Min-chan was sick and he went to visit her. She was very happy to see him, but he immediately got a call that he had to be somewhere important the next day for a marketing presentation. A day later, he was with her in her room with papers and crayons because the doctor asked her to rest up for a while. He told her that he drew pictures for work, but this time, he would be drawing a picture book for her instead. This picture book was about a hero who took out cockroaches, made the shrimp she hated go away, and would chase away anything she was afraid of or hated. He would do anything to keep her safe. Back to the present, Osan was still sobbing while staring at the book. Momo immediately initiated an attack, but his dad destroyed him, declaring that everything in that universe belonged to him. He then proceeded to give Osan the death that he wished for, but Osan declined, surprising him. He told him that he hadn't resolved a problem that he created yet. He had another flashback where he was asking Min-chan who one of her drawings was. She told him that it was him, but bad. She called him Bad Daddy. Osan wasn't happy with the fact that he was the bad guy. In another scene, Osan showed off his car to his wife and daughter to celebrate his new work success in advance. His wife wasn't happy with the fact that he got a two-seater car when there were 3 of them, which led to them entering a heated argument. Later on, she drew Bad Daddy and told her dad that that was him. But as an evil king, he asked her what would happen to him, and she told him that the good daddy would defeat the bad daddy. Back in the present, Osan linked Min-chan's old coloring stories to the situation he was facing at the moment, calling the emperor the bad guy and telling him that he had to defeat him. They entered an intense showdown as thrilling as Goku versus Vegeta, and even had that super double punch. He had another flashback of when he was in a critical condition in the hospital, and Min-chan was following him where the doctors took him. Yamada explained to her that he was burned out from working too hard, doing 8 part-time jobs at once, which was clearly too much. Yamada told her that he had his idea stolen by someone else. Therefore, he lost his job and all his money and had been doing everything he could to get it back. The fight continued between Osan and the emperor, with Osan losing a hand and a leg in the process, but Osan remained relentless, growing an arm and a leg with better chakra control than an Uzumaki, and continued fighting. Min-chan read her dad the book while he was in a coma and burst into tears, asking him not to leave her. He was still fighting the alien emperor, and with Min-chan's cry, he finally defeated him. In a different scene, Min-chan woke up from sleep and looked around for her father, but found out he was in the toilet.
Ah, shit! Had to go again.
He later realized that all these worlds he thought were fictional actually existed as part of a multiverse, and he lived through everything again like his life was flashing before his eyes. Thanks for watching our recap video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And remember, for more exciting recaps and insightful content, stay tuned to our channel. See you next time.